We'll hear Tom Cruise Studios live music in Austin tonight. We are live again with another episode of 3 Beers and a Whiskey. I want to thank Rudy, my director, for getting everything set up. We're hot on YouTube tonight. Marissa, tending the bar over there. She'll be pouring the drinks, keeping us in check. If you got any comments, questions, make sure you type it into the comment section there. We'll be happy to try to address that. And our special guest this evening is Roland and the Roots Riddim. So thank you very much. Y'all out there can clap. So thank you very much for joining us, man. Thank you very much. So cheers to you gentlemen. So how is everything going, sir?
Everything is going really well. Thank you for having us.
It was our pleasure.
We're happy to be here.
Our pleasure. That's actually, this is probably the first where we've had somebody sitting and actually having wine on the show. But hey, I mean, we can accommodate. I was happy. I was like, wait, do I have red wine? But yeah, we appreciate you guys taking the time out. I know, Fridays and Saturdays are always big and important events because that's when you guys are out there hustling and making the money. So for you guys to take time out of your schedule and have everybody that's available, except for a drummer, I believe.
Yes, the drummer, he had to go into work.
So, the real world settles down on us sometimes. But we still very much appreciate you guys taking time out to come sit with us. I kind of said it earlier, but I'll repeat it again. The whole idea of the show is the only two things that we really have in common with anything is music and Austin. So the conversation is really whatever we want to chat about. But
I want to introduce
everybody
that's up here.
This is why she's sitting
so
over
we
there.
have,
Keeps me in
we
check.
have Xavier.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody.
We have Roland. And we have Eric in the house today from
Roland and the Riddim.
Riddim.
And we've also got our bass players hanging out back there.
Yeah.
Got Alex.
Is there.
So Sparkle does vocals also, right? Yeah. So and we got a whole bunch of people sitting in the house actually. So thank all of y'all for taking the time to kind of join us and listen
support live music.
Yeah, support the live music scene and this little project we've got going on. So we're in season 2 now. I think y'all are actually me and Rudy were talking about earlier. This is our 25th show.
Wow.
So we're all like, oh shit. So thank you. Yeah. And it's all local. Me going out to shows and taking pictures and meeting people, and then how can I repay the enjoyment I get for going out to shows? And I'm like, oh, let's do this. Where are we still live, or did it die on us?
Well, we've got audio.
We've got
now we got video back.
Oh, okay. All right. That's all right. Live. This is the live. Oh, it had the 3-minute timer on it?
Yeah. Because I forgot to actually start recording.
Whatever. It's all right. We're good. We're good. So
I think we should have a beer for Rudy too.
Oh no. I don't trust Rudy with electronics. And, we've got guitar.
Yes.
Okay. And then of course vocals and guitar. And Xavier, your keyboard. Okay. Is that where you were going with that?
Where's everyone from? How did you come together is what Savannah wants to know.
Oh, okay. So how did because this is Roland and the Roots Riddim, so this is your project. How tell us the story, man.
Well, these guys were all cellmates in prison.
Nice.
Got a guilty
orange jumpsuits.
Travis County Corrections.
That's it. That's where we're at. Let's start a band. Let's get the guy on the road, guys. Years ago I moved to Austin in 2010 and moved here particularly to pursue my music and create. And along the way, I first decided to hit the studios because I was writing a lot of songs and start recording. In the process, I met a talented drummer, Leonard. So he started playing with me. He came and recorded a few of the songs, and because he's born and raised here, so
he's a unicorn.
Yeah,
very rare. Those folks that are born and raised in Austin and still live here.
So he was able to say, I know a lot of folks that can come in and work with you. I'm like, sure. So he helped me with the connection. Along the way, as bands, the story of bands go, people come and go, musicians come and go.
Especially in Austin. Always a rotating stable of musicians.
So along the way, I set my gaze and said, well, people may come and go, but my goal is to always have the right people around me.
Beautiful. Yes.
Xavier and I, we met at UT.
Cool.
I went there one day to audition a trumpeter for the San Antonio Reggae Festival going down there. And this guy showed up with a toy.
Not me.
No, not him. It was
A toy trumpet?
Yeah. And I was so pissed off. I'm like, why are you wasting my time when you know you got a toy? So while frustrated and leaving the music building, I heard the most soothing piano sound coming from one of the room. I'm like, wait a minute, who is that? So I open it, there's this guy sitting at the piano playing. I'm like, yo, sorry to interrupt you, but you sound amazing. Can I have your number? Can you give me your info? So I told him about reggae. He's like, yeah, I can play reggae. So that's how we did.
Nice.
And with Eric, one day I met him. I went to one of my buddies who's an engineer to drop off some stuff for him. And that's when, because I was telling Kevin, I said, hey man, I'm looking for lead guitarist for the band. The guy is out now, so I need somebody new. And that's when while passing, there's this guy coming in, just walking with some equipment. And Kevin is like, he's a lead guitarist. And then I asked him, are you available? He's like, yeah, actually. So that's how
Nice.
Kevin was loaning an amp to me because mine busted.
Yeah.
So I had my amp not busted, we would not be.
He would have been here. See? That's how stuff happened.
So,
Yeah.
how long has it been in Austin? How long have you been in Austin?
10
Yeah.
years now.
10 years, okay.
Yeah.
That is a reasonable, respectable length of time.
Yeah, it is.
Well, you know, so like, 6 months. Okay.
Yeah, I've been here.
How long
10
before you go to
years.
Nashville then?
Another 6 months.
And then, so we've got the backstory on these two guys. We've got, Alex sitting over there.
Huh?
Oh,
Well, Alex, he wasn't in the Travis County Correctional.
I'm sure his wife's all like, oh, that's news.
That's news. I had put out an ad, something I do personally well is I never settle in my artistic ventures. I'm always challenging myself to grow.
Good for you.
And so when I've outgrown certain levels, I always look for who's at that next level. So I reach out, and that's when Alice and I connected. He came in. I sent him 5 songs to audition.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, so he came in.
Put your touch on these and let me see what you got.
Exactly.
Nice.
So he came in. I was on the keyboard. We were jamming, and I had my eyes closed, just playing and singing. And the song, the bass line sounded so good. We were playing B natural, and then we switched and started playing I Shot the Sheriff. And I'm like, this guy sounds so damn good. What's going on? I opened my eyes. Alice was dancing and playing. I'm like, yes! I've been looking for bassists who can dance and play. So
He's got the rhythm.
He's got it.
And then, of course, your drummer?
Yes, Leonard. It's
Leonard.
Leo.
Okay,
he's
so
the guy I first
okay.
met in Austin.
Yeah, all right, very good.
Yeah.
So you moved to Austin from, I don't know the story, but I know the back. So you moved to Austin from where?
Charlotte, North Carolina.
How did
To Charlotte, but I moved from Liberia to Charlotte.
how'd you get to Charlotte, North Carolina?
During the time that I survived civil war in my country in Liberia, an American family, generous American family, the Helms family in Charlotte, heard about my story.
Okay.
And they decided that they wanted to help me.
Cool.
So my adoptive mother, who helped raise me, but she left the country when I was about 8 years old and came here. That's how she met this American family. And so they decided to help me. So when I graduated high school as valedictorian, they decided to bring me here to go to college. Wow. So that's how I ended up in North Carolina.
Damn, that is awesome story. That's all like, and then now and we chatted about this before because I was like, hey, do you have any merch or stuff? Make sure you bring stuff with you because, I got people in the house that like what you're doing.
Yeah.
Then, I hate for people to be here like, oh, well, I really don't have anything. Or, you can go online, but you have a book, right?
I do actually.
Wait, I think Roland's wife is sitting over here digging stuff out of the magic bag. There, okay, so this is, so
That's my book. That's my story.
Carol,
Yes. This is a story. This really details surviving civil war in Liberia. But before that, that is a photo of me actually back when I was little and cute. My biological parents put me in a box and threw me away in a community dump site that looks like that. And so an older lady walking by who became my mother, she heard a baby crying. She thought it was a cat. Actually climbed on top of the trash heap, opened the box, and there's a baby in there covered in fire ants. And that would be me. Wow. So she scooped me up. yelling through the neighborhood. Everybody ran to the police station. They couldn't find my parents, so she started raising me with her already retired husband. But by the time I was about 8 years old, she left the country and came to America for surgery. And she couldn't go back because the Liberian Civil War started.
Oh, okay.
So I stayed with my father, her husband. When I was about 11 years old, he was killed during the war. So I, hustled in the streets, fighting for food, begging, working for food. Damn. Been a knucklehead a little bit too. I almost became a child soldier several times, as many of my peers became. But the words of my father before he was murdered, he threatened me. He said, if I ever see you with an AK-47, which is a weapon, he said, I'm going to tear up your behind. So it helped keep me sane and focused. Later on, when there was ceasefire, I stayed in school. There's now, in America, people can go to public school free of charge, high school. Over there, it's not free. You got to pay your own tuition. So I was struggling to pay my tuition.
Right.
But because of my good grades in school, the proprietor or owner of the school decided they would give me a scholarship to stay.
To finish.
Yeah. So that's how I could stay. Right about 10th grade, that's when the American family, the Helms family, heard about me and started helping me. Yeah. So they were sending money and whatever.
Damn.
So this is book one of a trilogy. I'm working on
Oh, really?
the next two. Yeah.
So, okay. So how did I don't even know how to broach this. Where did the idea of writing a book about your life and where did that, how you just decided I'm going to do this, or did somebody, like, what?
Yeah, some people like when I first got here, in my first university out in North Carolina, in Hendersonville, I was paired up with a mentor, the vice president of the university. He would always have me every Tuesday evening around 4, sit in his office, and he was assigned to help me, understand the American culture, because I was homesick and what have you. So during those times when I would share my story, one day he looked at me, pulled his glasses, like, you know what, son? You should write a book. I said, write a book about what? He said, about what you're telling me. I said, this man is crazy. I'm going to write a book about that.
Right.
So I fought it for years. So I traveled around as a speaker, as a motivational speaker, and people always say, you should write a book. I'm like, no, I'm not writing a book. Yeah, so that followed me throughout for years. But in early 2010, summer of 2010, I went back to Africa on a forgiveness journey. A lot of what I described, I went through a lot of violent abuses, a lot of brutality, molestation and whatever. So I decided to really be free because I had met my wife then and we have 2 kids. And sometime I wasn't doing right as a father, as a husband. I said, okay, there's some things in here I got to screw tight. So I went back on a journey to, forgive and clear all that out just to heal. And that's when it hit me. I need to tell this story.
I need to write a book.
Yeah.
That everybody's been telling you to do.
And one person who challenged me on that is a bishop from South Africa, Bishop Desmond Tutu. I read one of his articles.
Oh, I was like, did you meet him?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I just read.
Okay.
Because I will follow people like him and Madiba, Nelson Mandela. Yeah, I got you.
Thank you.
Pass that one to him.
I'll take that one, sir. Here comes yours. Thank you. You mind? So I don't throw it on the floor. You just put it down. I just did all. Oh. That damn dog. Sorry, but he's in the middle of telling us this, and we're all distracted with beer and dogs and empty glasses. So you read an article from Desmond Tutu.
From Desmond Tutu, in outlining the steps of forgiveness, he said one of what everyone who's gone through something, in order to really beat that story or that experience, you have to tell it. You have to share it.
Sure.
So then I said, okay, maybe these are all signs that I really need to, grow some balls and do this.
Right.
And so I came back. At the time, I was going through a lot of confusion, trying to really create stability for my family and myself, living in America, working for myself. I said, okay, I'm going to write a book. Well, how the hell do you start? How do you write a book?
That's what I was going to ask you. How? Yeah.
How do you do that? So one day I had just come from a music conference in Kansas City, Missouri, and I was back in a hotel. And while I'm sitting there, I said, oh, you've been speaking forever. So usually what do? You have a title. You have an outline of points, what you want to make. So just do that. And so I did that. outline everything. Yeah. But about 5 points down, there was a traumatic place. That's when I knew this book was going to be something to write. Something meaning very dark and heavy. It was a scene that I had a flashback to that kind of blocked from my mind years back. It was a scene of my father, my adopted father, my dad, walking in front of us with rebel soldiers holding AK-47s and AK-60s and Berettas on him while he's walking barefoot in his morning robe because they just started shooting around the house and jerked him out of bed. So there he's walking, and he has no undergarment on, and he was a government official in the city of Riddim. He was a senior health inspector for the health department. So seeing that, and then I know what happened after that. Some of my best friends from elementary school, from third grade, their fathers were killed and the bodies were on the street, literally. So all that came back, and
while you're sitting in a hotel room,
and then just tears started just rushing out. I felt really sick to my stomach, like I was going to throw up. And the little legal yellow notepad I was writing all these points on, I got so pissed off, picking it up, threw it away. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to write this story. Who wants to read this thing anyway? So I stopped doing it until I moved to Austin and started going and hanging around people from the Austin, Texas Writers League.
Okay.
Following them, hanging and talking to some literary agents. The guy who, in Austin, they have this show called the Austin City Limit. The guy who invented that name or coined that phrase, Jan Reed.
Okay.
He's a journalist. He lives here. And
See, I'm being educated now. I didn't know that. That's pretty freaking cool. Okay.
He used to work for former Texas Governor Ann Richards. And I think
everybody remembers Ann.
Yeah.
You're here in Texas. You know Ann. Great Ann Richards.
So he did some interviews with me because the Boy Scout of America based here in Austin hired me to speak. So I went and spoke. So then that's how he heard my story. So he interviewed me for Texas Co-op and I think Texas Monthly.
Really?
Yeah, and during that time he said, you
should write a book.
Over and over. So through that I started to understand a little bit of how to storyboard and all these different techniques in writing. But at the end of the day, I decided, what do you do? I'm a speaker, a narrator. I tell stories.
Storyteller.
Yes. So that's all I did in the book. I just sat down and just shared from the heart, organizing those aspects of my life chronologically and whatever.
Damn. Okay. So, you're right. This is amazing and awesome. And how long did it take you? Like from inception, not everybody telling you to do it, but when you were like, all right, finally put the pen down, or just started typing on the keyboard.
Yeah.
How long did it take you?
9 months.
Really?
Yeah.
9 months. So that's your child.
Yeah. All honor to the mothers.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Wow. So okay, so we're getting that backstory on you and how the book came out. Where can anybody and everybody get this?
Okay. This is everywhere, of course. It's on Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Amazon, Kindle.
Really?
And also on my website. I'm still working on the audiobook for it. For Will?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm so sure. All right.
Yeah. There you go. And it's also on the website, Mr. Music. MISTAMUZIC.com.
I was going to ask you about that too.
Yeah.
So that's where everybody can get and I think actually I believe Rudy, my director, we were prepping everything earlier, and so I went to your Facebook page, and you've got all of there's a website and all that, and so he's setting up all the little screen, so anybody that's watching this is actually seeing on the bottom of it, there's your website, there's the YouTube, there's your Facebook pages popping up down there. But Mr. Music, how did that? How did you just decide this is the name I want? How did you pull that out, get it?
Oh, yeah, that came years ago in Charlotte when I set up my first band. Because I've been doing music, no matter what else I was doing, music has been my drug of choice.
Lovely, yep.
Had it not been for music, I don't think I would still have sanity or still be here.
Alive, right.
Yeah, I know I won't be alive. Huh? And so one day I started this band, my first band in Charlotte. It was the music, yeah. And so one day I was playing, and my guitarists, they all had their little nicknames. And I'm like, what is mine? I don't know.
Oh, really?
That's why I started
Okay.
thinking about it. So I was driving home. I said, I just do music. Why can't it just be that? And I just wrote down Mr. Music. And it kind of it fitted. I felt like, all right, I think that'll work. So then I made it even a customized license plate on my talent back then. Yeah.
An Eagle talent.
Yeah, I used to have that. I was going for an
That
Eclipse.
was an awesome car. Yeah, like,
Yeah.
you go for the
Yeah,
Eclipse.
and then I went for the talent. And it was stick shift too, so I used to enjoy it. And so I had Mr. Music 1 on there. It was just
Nice, cool.
no wonder these cops recognized me and gave me tickets everywhere.
Only bad thing about a personalized plate. No matter what the car looks like, they know it's you. Man,
So Roland,
oh, here we go.
so you are a published author, and that is a huge accomplishment.
Thank you.
So congratulations, that's fantastic.
And the first of a trilogy, so
Yes.
that's crazy that your mind is rolling going more, but go ahead, I'm sorry.
Be your songwriter also.
I am.
So how do you compare and how do you put your music together? Is it more difficult to write music, or was it more difficult to write a book?
Ooh, emotionally more difficult to write that book.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
That book. Music, because music has been the most soothing thing for me. It is the easiest thing I do. I will compose. In fact, only nowadays in my life, I'm disciplining myself to sleep because it'll be late night. I'm lying there and things just start coming, and I have to get on the piano and start composing and recording some. And so, how I compare them, the comparison is that I find that they're united in my purpose. And I find that my place, because what I didn't share that I do have in the book, before my 15th birthday, I had attempted suicide 3 major times. Coming out of that, almost like coming back from the dead, I then began writing what is my life meant to be about? What do I want it to be about? So that I wanted my life to be something that I can use to inspire and help other fellow human beings. So then that informs both the telling of the story, writing the book, and at the same time writing the songs, so that there is always that positive, inspiring, and message, message based. Yeah.
So what would you, what kind of advice would you give to someone who would, like someone that's new in music, that wants to get into the music scene, who wants to be a songwriter, performer, an artist? What kind of advice do you have for someone like that?
I would give one that is, it might sound more philosophical, or one side of that, and another one technical that they can really use. So I'm going to start with the technical part. I find that a lot of songwriters I've met who are just starting, and what have you, they make a fundamental mistake that I stopped making and started writing more. And that, I would say, do not edit while you write.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That
You're
really
right.
just helped me to flow, because editing switch into the left brain side. It's more analytical. You become critical of your stuff. You're like, this is trash. This is no good. Don't do it. Stay in the right brain and just write. So that helped me to just express. Then the other side, go
Does
ahead.
that sound right to you too?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like anything that I've written has just been like spontaneous,
And just let it go out.
And you
Yeah.
kind of can go back and make some tweaks and stuff, like-
After you're done with it.
Yeah.
Just flow with that. So that could be something that I need to
So
use.
that's the technical part, and then the philosophical part.
The philosophical part has to do more with introspection. Knowing in yourself, you don't have to know all the answers, you don't have to know everything about yourself. But when you can sit down there and stare in the mirror and recognize, not just see the form, but look in your own eyes and find the one who's staring back. And decide that that life, your life, is here for a reason and is worth something. Not based on anyone else's measurement, but based on yourself. Then the next question is, what do you have to say? It doesn't have to be high-minded. It could be something you're happy about. It could be something you feel silly about. It could be something you're pissed off about, whether it's societal injustice or whether it is about maybe something somebody just made you mad about. Whatever it is, that part of it becomes that. It's the philosophical and slightly esoteric part of it is that there is something, the word person, we all say this is a person, this is a person. Person is 2 words together. One is per, when something is going via something. We say
Okay.
$10 per hour. This per hour. So
Okay.
per means something traveling by means of. Per sun, the sun is cut from the word sonar, which means sound. And what this means is that every human being.
Was that Google or was that Siri? So I don't know if y'all heard that. And when I go back and edit, it's going to stay in. But freaking apparently Siri was listening and responding to Roland.
He's getting jealous of your Alexa.
Wow. That was freaking awesome.
What she said, I don't know how to respond.
Respond to that. You know, that's the second time that's happened. One day is.
You get her? Just wait.
Oh, no.
He's all like, no, I'll kill him.
I'm gonna hold it.
And Roland's in the middle of just this deep philosophical and a moment of brevity, levity, and
That's it,
there
that's
we
it.
go.
That helps you not take yourself so seriously.
Right.
One day I was in the living room watching stand-up comedy, and literally in the middle of the bit, I don't know how I mistakenly pressed Siri. I didn't notice that. But the comedian said, "Come on, just go F yourself." And right away Siri said, "I don't know how to respond to that." Whoa!
So I'll digress off of that.
Yeah.
Just the funny thing is the conspiracy theorists out there in the world, where Facebook is always listening to you on your phone, where if you're talking about a subject and then later you go back into Facebook and now ads are appearing in your Facebook stream for yes, and it's happened to me. My wife doing that, and we're joking about it. I'm like, ooh, let's talk, and so out loud we're yelling at each other. I don't remember what we were.
You were saying we should get a cat.
Oh,
We don't like cats.
we don't like
He's
cats.
like,
Cats
we
are
should
gross.
get
Cats.
cats.
We kept.
We're gonna go get a cat. Let's go get a cat. Let's go adopt a cat. Let's go get cat food.
Wow.
And guess what showed up?
And then the next day, all of a sudden, I'm going through Facebook, going, "Why are all these? Oh my God, Facebook is listening."
No,
So
and
yes, seriously.
I've tried to play it before and say stuff that I don't want,
Yeah.
but then it doesn't. I'll be like try to trick it, but then it doesn't show up.
Like
Yeah,
it's
they know. Yeah.
Like that.
Beat the algorithm.
Yeah.
All right, so outside of that silliness, so music, where with all of the styles, all the genre of music in the world, where, how, why is she snoring? God dang! I'm pretty sure the microphone can't pick her up, but that's not me. It's the dog. Reggae.
Reggae music is, and I may be very biased when I say it, is on the root side, it's African. It's black music, black culture, it's that heritage of Africa. The original music of Jamaica is not reggae, it's mento. So however, reggae is a blending of music from here in America, jazz,
Yes.
rock and roll.
But jazz is based on
There
and
you
rock
go.
and roll is from jazz and from
There you go.
Yes.
There you go. So now in Africa, out in roots land, everything is music. When making farms, you're singing and dancing. Everything is rhythm.
Yeah.
Everything is that. So that's where it started for me, playing in the village, playing in Robertsport City, my first instrument was a log drum. Then I started playing the sikwe, which is one string, almost like a one-string harp.
Oh, okay, yeah. And in tub, the wash tub
Wash the face.
bass is one string. So
There
yeah,
you go.
it's all the basic rhythm
Yeah.
from that.
Yeah, all of that through. So that stayed with me. When I moved to the city, Monrovia, going through high school, I one day was on my way going to the well to get water. When I heard these Rastas in the little zinc shack, and there's a bunch of ganja smoke just coming out, and they're listening to reggae music. A lot of the peacekeepers that came from Nigeria and other countries to come help the country of Liberia stop the war, in the evening they'll be smoking weed. I didn't know what it was because it smelled different than regular cigarette.
Yeah.
But they're smoking that and just listening to guys like Joseph Hill. In fact, when those guys left their army base and moved, weeks I was so depressed missing them that I would only sing these reggae songs.
Oh, okay.
One of them was talking, Joseph Hill, he sang about, he's from the Caribbean, of course, from Jamaica, and he would say we were brought here in chains. And he just talked about the whole history of slavery that happened to blacks from the West Indies to the Americas and whatever. And so those stories will stick with me, especially as a young man struggling and suffering and we're living through war. It will stick with me. So then I started to find out, who are these people? One day I'm leaving from the well, coming with water, and I hear this guy singing, "Oh, pirates, yes, they're all right, sold out through the merchant ships." And I'm like, oh, and the message, one thing he said, that really stuck out to me, he said, emancipate yourselves from mental slavery.
Yeah.
So I stopped. I'm standing outside the door, I'm waiting, and one of the guys came out and opened the door. I said, "Hey, who's that singing?" He said, "That's Bob Marley." I said, "Is he a prophet?" He said, "Yeah.
He is the prophet."
I said,
Yes,
"Hey,
he-
can I borrow the thing and listen to it?" He said, No, I don't let smoke. Later on, he let me work for it because he had a big jug that he needed to have water fill in it.
Right.
So I did it, and he let me borrow the cassette tape. And inside the cassette
Wait.
tape, yeah,
A cassette tape.
yes.
There's a couple of people here that are like, you know what a cassette tape is, sir?
Cassette tape.
You know what
I'm just checking. Do you know the relevance of a pencil and a cassette tape?
I can do that.
Okay, so there we go.
Yeah.
Sorry, just had to jump out. Because Owen, right? Yeah, so off camera, Owen goes to Texas State, right? He goes to Texas State with my wife. So we're happy that he joined us in the crowd for the interview. But Owen's, like 40, 50 years old. How are you? So, he definitely knows what cassettes are and the relevance of a pencil.
He's a musician too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What do you play?
Bass piano.
Bass piano?
No, I play both.
I'm like, that's new. Okay.
He plays them at the same time.
At the same time. Wait, I've seen people do that. So anyway, I'm sorry, we jumped way off. So you're working and got to listen to Bob Marley?
Yeah, started listening and reading the lyrics, and those really pulled me in.
Something like the liner.
Huh? Yeah.
When you unfold the cassette and unfold the little... Oh, yeah.
And I could read all the words while listening.
Yes.
And following it, it really did something for me. Because here I was, a teenage boy, father gone, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so those words really inspired me that I kept on listening to it. So then when I finally got the chance, I came to America. Even in college, while in North Carolina, a lot of people listen to Christian music and to country music.
In North Carolina, Christian music and country music?
Yeah.
Totally bizarre.
So
Okay, not really, but yeah.
But however, along the way, something happened. Because when you get here, you don't know where you are. The culture is different. Everything is different. Food is different. For a whole week, I couldn't eat because I would go in the kitchen and they had this raw leaf. And they were eating raw stuff. And I was one of only 2 black people in the whole school. And I'm going, man, these white people are crazy. They're eating raw leaf. They're not cooking it. And then one of my friends, Brandon, said, "It's salad, you're African."
Oh, I thought it was lettuce. Yeah.
So I had to learn all those. But then, because now here I am feeling completely lost, I say, you know what? I'm going to start listening back to my music. So I started listening to reggae. I even went on at the second university that had a radio station, so I will host a reggae radio show for many years.
The second college?
Yeah, I graduated to university.
The second college was which one?
Gardner Webb University.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
You can throw it out there and
I
give them
know.
credit, right?
There you go, exactly. Yeah. Gardner Webb University. And that's where I met my wife at the radio station. We worked together for a while. She was one of my students at the station, so it was a teacher.
Scandal. Oh,
Yeah.
a little scandalous there. Oh, shit.
Yeah. It was a teacher and student. I said that joke once while giving a talk somewhere about look. I said she was old enough. Okay?
Oh.
They said, how old? I said, she was 19, 20. Anyway, I was just 23 years old then. Too,
Right.
so. But yeah, so from those, following reggae music, the messages of it. For me, I listen to music as I also read. I do it more introspectively. And those messages help inspire me, especially even with forgiveness, going back and finding my biological father, biological mother, forgiving them, and living from that place of forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
Reggae music, the deeper messages of it help inspire me. So hence reggae. Yeah.
Damn. Dude, you guys have had like a ton of conversations with us during this interview.
Oh, I was gonna say what he was just talking about. And that's kind of feel like kind of a big draw for a lot of us, like playing with Roland. Is all of his music kind of it has a message to bring and stuff. So it's really
fulfilling.
Well, he's got a draw to him. He's got a really magnetic energy, and like the songs that he writes. It's like on top of like us that are playing with him, and then also the people that come out to see him. It's like the message is really.
So I haven't been to a show. Calmate, señorita. Calmate. I haven't been to a.
I just paying to say that.
But I said earlier we had about 3:30. Rudy got here about 3:30, and about 4:00. My wife's all like, "Put some music on," and I'm like, "Okay," because we're moving things around, setting things up to do this, and I was like, "Okay," and she goes, "No. Does Roland have a channel, or does he?" And I was like, "I'm sure." Oh, there's a YouTube channel. Cool. Clicked on it and started and I hit play, so it was going through everything that has ever been posted that people have recorded, either professionally or not professionally, of you doing shows, and it was just cycling through on the TV, and I'm like, okay, and what you just said is correct. It was like, it's not just the vibe that you guys, how y'all are, but you can see people in the crowd having fun and enjoying it and feeding back to you guys what y'all are providing.
It's funny when I first started playing with Roland, it's like I really enjoyed the music, but like, just like being a pianist, a lot of what I was focusing on was just like, what am I supposed to play? Just listening to the music, and like learning the songs. And then like, it was funny because it was later I would go back and listen to the songs and like actually pay attention more to the words and the lyrics.
Oh,
and stuff,
okay. So instead of like the musical part of it, you were listening to the lyrical aspect of it.
Well, originally I was just trying to learn the music part, and then like I went back later and like was listening to the words and I'm like, damn, these words are fucking good, I remember me and my girlfriend at one point just sitting down and like we were sitting there like we were just listening to it and have a good time in the kitchen and like, I'm like we just find these certain lines and I'm like, damn, Roland, like, what the fuck did you come up with it? That's so good, and it's like there's like a lot of really just beautiful lyrics, and like, they say a lot, and I think that really speaks a lot to Roland and just like why it works for him, it's like,
and it's when your reggae is what you do, but you're not a cover band. You have a shit ton of originals, right? So the album.
Yeah.
Hold it up, Eric. Are we all originals on this? Or?
All originals.
Oh, see, so there. And where can people get the CD at? Or it's available digital, obviously, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you want a physical copy.
Physical copy, they can either come to our shows or go to the website, mrmusic.com.
I like the idea of like go to shows.
Yeah.
So where's the next show?
The next show is coming up on February 22nd. I think it's going to be at Whip In.
Oh, the Whip In right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the best ways to keep all our shows is on the Facebook page.
Okay. And Rudy, you posted the Facebook page link, right? Okay. The Whip In on the 22nd. Do we have a show? Oh, is that a Saturday?
Yeah, it is a Saturday.
Shit, I've got a show on Saturday. So
we got more coming up.
So where else after that? Okay, where else?
Yeah, we got more coming up. Like some of what we got. We're gonna be headlining at the Congo Square Festival.
That is awesome. Okay,
yeah, so
very
it's gonna
good.
be a huge one. And so,
is that the same place as last time?
No, this is at some Catherine Rosewood, something Catherine.
Oh, on East Side. I know where that's at.
Yeah, it's
okay.
a big concert spot.
Yeah.
So this one's gonna be a very big one.
Very cool.
We're headlining there. So there are several dates that I just filled in the calendar.
So go to the Facebook page, follow the band, and that way you can go to a show, because I have to go to a show.
That's right.
Yeah, I know.
You're covering your beautiful face.
Eric, put my
Right,
face.
right,
He's good.
Okay.
He's good.
Well, I don't know, where are we at, Rudy?
We're at about 45.
God dang, man. I'm telling you. So, I mean, unless you guys have anything else, you have, there's so much that you've talked about.
He's been talking way
that
too
I
much.
am like,
He's got the CD. I've been doing most of the drinking.
There's nothing wrong with that, sir. So I believe, if I'm correct, that we've had 2 beers, a whiskey, 3rd beer, which is the whole premise of the show. Chat about like whatever, and this was probably one of my most powerful, like amazing. Like in 25 shows. When you were talking earlier, I was all like, "Oh, geez, don't start crying freaking on camera." Don't do it. So, thank you guys very much for showing up and doing this interview, sitting down, chatting with like the world and telling your story. I think we're gonna go ahead and cut camera here in a few seconds. He's about to cut me off, and then we're gonna have some tacos. We're gonna have some beans that you're like, all y'all people out there watching, y'all can't have any because you're not here. But everybody here in the house can have some tacos and beans. Y'all ready? Ready? Y'all ready to eat? So, and then once we're gonna move some shit around, and I believe you guys are gonna do a little music for us, right? All right. So, everybody in the house, thank y'all very much for showing up, hanging out. Appreciate it. Roland, sir, thank you. Eric, Xavier, thank you, sir. I appreciate y'all taking the time, coming in and sitting down. I hope this was as wonderful for you guys to do and sit here as it was for us to, like in the house, and for me to be a part of. So thank you very much. Again, Rudy, thank you for running cameras and everything. Marissa, she's making tacos right now. So thank you for doing the bar. All you out there, all of this stuff's up. The links were posted, so make sure you follow Roland. Hey, we would love it if you hit the little subscribe button at 3 Beers and Whiskey, because this is really how we can keep this shit alive for the rest of the world to see and tell them about all the badass stuff that is here in Austin, Texas. God, I don't know. Is there anything else I'm supposed to say, Rudy?
Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
I just want to say thank you for having us.
My pleasure, completely. Thank you very much. I didn't diss him like that, man. So, from Tom Cruise Studios, live music in Austin. Thank you very much for watching us tonight. This will go on replay whenever it pulls up. But 3 Beers and Whiskey with Roland and the Roots Riddim. Thank y'all. Y'all have a good night. We'll be back in a few minutes for the live performance.